I've never seen my husband so stimulated.
Well, he's a very stimulating man himself.
Yes, he is. I hope you'll be comfortable. Sirt will valet you.
Dear Lady Carmel, I have so little to offer a valet.
But would you mind letting Sirt? So as not to hurt his feelings.
Very well. I have 2 suits. This and Ando's dinner jacket. They're both at Sirt's disposal.
Thank you. I hope you sleep well, Professor. Oh, by the way, there's a nightingale under your window.
Oh, you should not have gone to so much trouble.
Good night, Professor.
Good night, Lady Carmel.
Dear Uncle Hahn, I served my first dinner tonight. Oh, Uncle Hahn.
Good evening, Cluny. Oh, Cluny, I'm so sorry I upset you.
How do you do, Mr. Polinsky?
For heaven's sake, how did you get here? To Friars Carmel, of all places. Tell me, what happened?
It's all Uncle Hahn. You remember my uncle, don't you?
Yes.
Oh, but what's the use? Here I am in a uniform. Oh, Mr. Polinsky.
Oh, no, Cluny. Look at me, I'm here too. And I haven't even got an uncle. And after all, you are at least a maid. I'm only a guest. And I would have to wear a uniform too, a dinner jacket.
But I don't want to be a maid all my life. I'll go on and on, dropping platters, putting hot water bottles into cold beds, and having Wednesday afternoon off in the village where the cinema opens only at night.
What about me, Cluny? I'm a city man. I love crowds and traffic and lights, smoke in my lungs. What have I got? A big-mouthed nightingale right under my window.
Oh, it's so good to talk to someone who's out of place, too.
Yes, Cluny. Talk to me at any time. Open your heart to me.
Ditto. Oh, Mr. Polinsky. Please forgive me, Mr. Polinsky. I don't know what came over me. It isn't as if you were my type. Believe me, you aren't.
I'm sure I'm not. I understand perfectly. You were just happy to find a friend here, and so am I. We must go on being friends. And as we're not our types, that should be easy.
You know, we're like 2 people on a desert island, waiting for a ship to rescue us.
That's right, Cluny, but, you know how it is in a desert island. You wait and wait, and then you don't wait anymore. Cluny Brown, let's admit it, we're in danger. Today we're not our types, but as time passes, we might not look so bad to each other. If we are at Friars Carmel long enough, who knows? You might even find me tolerable, and I might find you the most beautiful creature in the whole county. It's not much of a county, but that's all we'll have.
Oh, no, that must never happen, Mr. Polinsky. You must never become a victim of my circumstances, and if you should ever seem romantic to me, don't hesitate. Just kick me.
Yes, let's kick each other.
It's a pact. I feel so safe.
Good. Well, I think I better go now.
Why don't you use the stairs?
Excellent idea.
I can't thank you enough. Oh, I feel so much better.
Have a good night's sleep, Cluny.
I think I will. How lucky that we met in that flat. I wish I were back there right now. I wish I could roll up my sleeves and roll down my stockings and unloosen the joint. Bang, bang, bang.
Well, I think I'll go to my room now and let the nightingale bang me to sleep. Good night, Cluny.
Good night.
Well, Mrs. Maley?
I agree with you, Mr. Sinnott. But then, it's so difficult to get girls to come to the country.
What do you expect? A maid without references, and a foreigner who isn't even in the diplomatic service. I hesitated to tell you, but now I believe I should. This foreign gentleman rose at dinner and addressed me directly.
Oh, no.
Yes, Mrs. Maley. Sir Henry and Lady Carmel's guest spoke to me as an equal.
Good night, Mr. Siddott.
Good night, Miss Amelia.
Good afternoon, Constable.
My water.
Afternoon, Bergie.
Mr. Fetlock.
Cluny,
Oh, hello, Mr. Belinsky.
just look at you. Violets on your shoulders, roses in your cheeks, and a garden on your head. What's the occasion?
Don't you know?
It's your birthday.
No.
It isn't my birthday, is it?
Oh, Mr. Belinsky, don't you know what day this is?
I've lost count.
It's Wednesday.
Is it?
Oh, Mr. Belinsky, it's my day off from 3 to 7.
Oh, of course. Perfect. No wonder I've always loved Wednesdays. From 3 to 7. 4 hours, all to ourselves. 240 minutes. And if you think of it in seconds, I'll cancel all my engagements. In fact, I'll ignore them. Cluny, the village is ours.
Oh, it's awfully sweet of you, Mr. Belinsky, but I think I should tell you. Something has happened.
What?
You know, Mrs. Maley suffers from rheumatism.
You haven't caught it, have you?
Oh, no. But you see, if Mrs. Maley hadn't sent me to the chemist shop for Pear Tree's liniment, I might never have met Mr. Wilson, the chemist. That's the way things happen. Think of it. Mrs. Maley's swollen knee might change my whole life.
Oh, is it as bad as that, Cluny?
Well, I don't know. What would you think if a gentleman invited you to tea and to meet his mother, too?
I won't go.
But I've already accepted, and I'm certain I did the right thing.
I'm sure you did.
You know, Mr. Wilson's the only chemist around here for miles and miles. Oh, it's so exciting to meet a man who's surrounded by hundreds of bottles, and every one of them life or death. Mr. Wilson hinted when we get better acquainted, he might let me watch him make up a prescription. But this is confidential.
Your secret will be buried with me. Well, Cluny, it looks as if your ship had come in. The glass of beer I was going to offer you seems awfully flat beside all those bottles and phials filled with magic. Well, have a good time, my dear.
Thank you. Goodbye, Mr. Belinsky.
Goodbye, Cluny.
Now, let us repeat it once again, Mrs. Watkins. Tilt Master Richard's head back and squeeze 1 drop of the astringent into each nostril 3 times a day. Miss Brown?
You're sure his nose will stop running, Mr. Wilson?
Mrs. Watkins, it may interest you to know that after the use of 1 bottle of my nasal bath, the Marquis of Rockamere, a distinguished speaker, was for the first time clearly understood when he addressed the House of Lords last week. 2 shillings, please.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Come, Richard.
Good afternoon, Miss Brown.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wilson.
Well, Miss Brown, I could relish a crumpet or 2, and you?
Ditto.
Then, shall we step into the parlor?
Oh, Mr. Wilson, didn't you notice anything?
Notice what?
The way I look.
Well, I remarked about it the last time I saw you. I said you looked intelligent.
Oh, no, that's not what I mean. Here, the garden on my head.
Well, I don't object to it myself, but my mother might think it a little frivolous.
Oh. Well, then I'd better take it off.
Oh, thank you. I hope you understand.
I do. I should have been satisfied to look intelligent.
Then, shall we?
Oh, what an elegant room.
Well, it's not Buckingham Palace, but it's Wilson's little castle. You might enjoy looking at this picture, Miss Brown. It's painted by hand.
Poor little sheep. It hasn't much future, has it? Just mutton.
And where would England be without it? If I was a sheep, I should be proud to serve the Empire.